Okay, guys, welcome to True Crime Chat with Mommy Ramblings. I'm really sorry because I had this whole thing done and then I lost my, took all my notes, listened to the press conference. I had to go to a grief counseling. I went to record it with all my notes, got everything done. I thought the whole recording was done. So then I formatted all my slides with pictures, erased all my notes from them because that's how I do it. And then found out that something happened to the recording. Then when I went to undo it, I had made so many changes to the slides, it only undid 10 moves. So I could not get my notes back, had to go through the whole thing again. Wouldn't trust recording on that, that format again. So now I'm doing this and I don't even know if this is working now. I'm just going to make sure because I don't see the thumbnail coming up and it is not coming up. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. Why is the thumbnail not showing? Okay, I have no idea. Oh, I think maybe, let me see. Why is this not doing this? Perhaps, this is fun, isn't it? Let me try to bring this here. And oh, I guess I'm just going to have, oh, that's right. I'm in freaking Zoom. I have to screen share with you guys. Okay, so I apologize for this, but I can't start this again. I just can't. Okay, there we go. Now it should be showing. So what happened here? Now, let me just make sure that slide, is that going to come up? I just want to make sure because YouTube has a delay. Should be the 3 suspects were arrested in the Frostproof massacre. The motive, details, and charges from the sheriff's press conference are what I'm going to go over here. There we go. And it is a really interesting case already. I mean, it's a tragic massacre, but I mean, when we find out that there really wasn't the motive that so many people believed was the motive. Let's go over the facts in here, but if this is your first time joining us, please, I try to, I had a perfect presentation done, well, not perfect in my means, but not with those things. I encourage you to click on the subscribe button and join the best community on YouTube. We may not have it all together, but together we have it all. So let's look at what happened here. I just want to get to the next, okay. My notes over here. Okay, so earlier today, Sheriff Grady Judd from the Polk County Sheriff's Office announced that they arrested 2 brothers and a woman who was one of the suspect's girlfriends, and they had them arrested yesterday. And they are on the left there. You see not the gentleman in the middle, because sometimes it's right and left gets confused. The other gentleman with the lighter hair and the beard is Tony T.J. Wiggins, age 26. And Sheriff Grady Judd said he was the trigger man. And then in the middle, you have his brother, William Robert Wiggins, age 21. And on the end, you have Mary Whitmore, who is 27 and is the girlfriend of Tony. They are all behind bars. Let's go on with how this all happened, how they connected these people. The first thing that the sheriff is going to say is that when people started to come forward, well, they started to talk about Tony and that he was vile and he was violent and just look at him, he just goes up and he'll punch someone for no reason. Well, no reason to most people, but Tony apparently had some reason to do what he did. And he was out on bond for a charge of breaking someone's arm with a crowbar in a fight. And this man was no stranger to the law. He was first arrested at the age of 12 and had, hang on, because I have my notes over here. 230 felony criminal charges in his arrest history. Okay, so he's out on bond for breaking this man's arm with a crowbar. And the sheriff described him, and these, I quote, "He's a thug. He's a criminal. He's pure evil in the flesh. He's wild and he's out of control," unquote. So when looking into these tips about TJ Tony Wiggins, they are finding a bag for the Dollar General in Damien's truck. Damien drove the red truck. He was the one that was alone. That brought them to the Dollar General, where they looked at the video surveillance, and they found that Damien was checking out, and who was right behind him was Tony TJ Wiggins, and right behind Tony was Robert Wiggins. It was later found that Mary Whitmore was also in the Dollar General at that time, but she wasn't seen on the line. There was a conversation that happened between these men, but it wasn't, there was no audio. And later on, they said that what it was that Damien told the clerk, because it's a small town, that he was going fishing, and he was going fishing with Kevin. And then Robert and TJ had a conversation that he was going with who? With Kevin. Okay. Damien checks out. Again, there was no altercation or anything that happened between the men. It looked like a civil conversation, nothing animated or anything. Damien checks out. 15 seconds later, Tony is out. Then Robert, the girlfriend, and TJ get into their truck, which they borrowed this truck from a relative. She thought they were going somewhere else. They went to this fishing hole when they got this red mud all over a truck, but we'll talk about that in just a second. Let me just change this for you. So they follow, and right away, Robert's driving and Damien's on his way, and TJ says to Robert, "Go to the lake." And Robert drives the truck to the lake. So I'm going to make sure I have all my stuff here. So Damien arrives at the lake, and then in the next truck, we have Kevin and Brandon coming in. Now, Kevin's driving, Brandon's the passenger, and they line up their trucks so that they're talking driver's side to driver's side. Okay. And as they are talking, the truck driven by Robert Wiggins pulls in behind the truck that has Kevin and Brandon. And Brandon shines a light back to see who's pulling in behind them. And when he does that, Tony TJ Wiggins rushes him and says, "Where's Kevin? Where's Kevin?" Okay. And then he runs around between the two trucks. So he's got Damien on one side and Kevin on the other. And he's out of control, and he's screaming, "Where's my truck? You stole the engine out of my truck." TJ Wiggins then shoots Brandon and Kevin. He shoots about 9 to 10 times between the two of them with the handgun that he has in his hand, because he's screaming and, at Kevin, "Where's my truck?" when he's doing this. Okay. Then he turns around and he starts shooting at Damien. Okay. At some point, he loses the magazine to his handgun. So he opens the door to the truck that Kevin is in, and Kevin falls out. Now, Damien opened his door so during this whole thing, and then was shot. Robert is claiming he stayed in the truck. He didn't get out. He didn't get out until his brother calls him to come here and give him a hand and get Damien into the truck bed. So they both hoist Damien over the truck bed. They have his leg hanging out, and then they get in and they go to a McDonald's. Excuse me. They strip their gun. They go to an undisclosed location. They strip that gun. They dispose of it. And then they go to a McDonald's. And the only thing that was consistent is that when they were interviewed, is this McDonald's trip where they said they all ordered 10 double cheeseburgers and 2 McChicken sandwiches. I just want to get over here. I'm just so upset because I took my now abbreviated note because I couldn't go through everything again. So now they dispose of this gun. They're seen in this drive-through in McDonald's where TJ says in a very soft voice, "We weren't there." Now, with all of the tips coming in from the community, it is, I just want to make sure that we have, I want to just go to the next, how do I go to the, okay, and that's Mary. Come on. Okay. So upsetting when I try to do something right and it's wrong because it's technology. It just drives me insane. So they served a search warrant at the Wiggins family compound because they lived in trailers, in these like camper trailers, way off the grid, no electricity, no running water. They had some generators. Well, they served a search warrant on there. And they found ammunition and they found firearms. They found that Tony had 2 rifles and 2 shotguns and ammunition for both in a gun safe. And because TJ Wiggins is a convicted felon, he can't have firearms. So he was immediately placed under arrest for the possession of firearms. Detectives also found ammunition that matched the shell casing. There's 1 shell casing, okay, of this 9mm. So they compared them up and they found out that that casing and the ones at the scene were fired from the same Smith & Wesson handgun. And they said that that was the murder weapon, okay? And that was the weapon that was in TJ's hand. TJ lawyered up immediately, but, you know, once they were brought down, they said that Mary and Robert spoke for a little bit, but everybody lied. Everyone lied. And Mary said that she bought ammunition for TJ and did it on July 9th. And there's video to corroborate that. The only thing that was consistent in any of their stories was this McDonald's trip. But Mary, the sheriff described as a very mean woman, and she became very upset when the detectives got her name wrong, spelled it wrong or something. And then she lawyered up when he said, you know, they felt like, when she felt like they got her, it was his opinion. And then again, Robert lawyered up as well. So what they have, where were we, is this, the sheriff also said, you know, they don't need any more reward money, but the families, there's nothing worse than when you have to bury a child, but there's nothing worse when you have to bury a child and you don't have money. So he's looking, if anybody in the community wants to do anything, is to support these families that need funds to bury their children that were killed. And just, he was so grateful to the community for the tips that came in and just praised the Sheriff's Department and law enforcement, saying they only have 2 cases that are not solved. And that, you know, they look forward to working with the prosecutors and bringing these people to justice for what they did. Now, the charges, let's see here, and there is some footage. Let me see if I can get that up from the Dollar General. Let me see if I can. I had some screenshots, but okay. I'll put a link where you can go see that in the video description so you can go watch that. And it was like just 10 minutes later from the time that Damien was checking out of that Dollar General that all 3 men were killed. Brandon hung on for a few minutes more. He placed that call to his father. His father ran out there and then he succumbed shortly afterwards. But yeah, just pure evil is what Sheriff Grady said. And we'll have to see what happens. They're looking forward to working with the prosecutors and bringing them to justice. That TJ was charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder, and that Robert Wiggins and Mary Whitmore were charged with accomplices and destroying evidence, but their charges may be upgraded. I'm trying to get the exact charges. I have all of this written down. Let me give you their exact charges. I just had to go somewhere and they were charged with being accessories to the murders and also tampering with the evidence. Again, he said that can, those charges can be upgraded. They can have more charges. And then there were also other charges for TJ Wiggins, for the possession of the firearms, etc. I just want to make sure that we went through everything because I didn't have my notes in the right order. Went through the security footage from the McDonald's. I told you that the first thing they did after the killing, they went to a undisclosed location. They stripped the gun and they took it apart and they threw it away. And then they went to the McDonald's where Robert said that his brother TJ said one thing: we weren't there. Hundreds of tips came in on the case. The sheriff said so many calls were coming in that they needed extra people in the call center to help with the load. And a lot of the tips urged the sheriff to check on the man called TJ Wiggins just because he was mean and nasty and vile and known around. And again, arrested at the age of 12 years old for the first time. So we'll have to see what happens here, but I wanted to bring that to you and just hope that this goes out. I'm sorry, this is so discombobulated. The first video was recorded perfectly and everything was nice, and it just, the recording didn't transfer over. So I'm sorry. And I had a bunch of pictures for you, and let's see, we'll go through some of them. That was the sheriff at the press conference showing the pictures of the suspects, starting with the woman that is Mary. She's the 27-year-old girlfriend of the center person, TJ Tony Wiggins, and the end is his 21-year-old brother, William Robert Wiggins. And these are our victims of this horrific crime. And they are Kevin Springfield, Damian Tillman, and Brandon Rollins. Remember that Damian was in his own truck. Red, Damian is the one that was in the Dollar General store right before this happened. And then Kevin and Brandon came. Kevin was driving, Brandon was the passenger. The drive-through is where the suspects went after they stripped the gun and threw it away, and they ordered 10 double cheeseburgers and 2 McChicken sandwiches. Oh, yep, see, I did forget something. Robert, the next day, see, they borrowed that truck from a relative, a female relative. And she was really upset because they had said they were going to Sebring with the truck, and it came back with all of this red mud on it. So Robert took the truck and cleaned off the red mud. Investigators asked Robert, did you clean the inside? He said no, but investigators said he's lying because it was. But they did find trace evidence of blood where TJ Tony was sitting, and that is being analyzed right now in the crime lab. And again, the sheriff just, thanked everyone for their supports and the community coming together as a whole, and just everybody really pulling together. And then there was a question where someone, these little notes I do have, this is the only ones I have left, about the motive. A reporter asking, is that really just the motive? And he said it was, where is my truck? I heard you sold the engine out of my truck, is all that they can find right now with regards to that. So that's what we have, guys. And 3 suspects arrested in the Frostproof massacre. Tony TJ Wiggins, age 26. William Robert Wiggins, TJ's brother, age 21. Mary Whitmore, Tony TJ's girlfriend, age 27. That was the processing of the crime scene, the press conference. And then we're back to the suspects. So yeah, that's what we have for you today. And that's all I have right now. I will be on live later tonight with any more updates, or, if there's something Major, of course, I'll be there. You know, today we're also, Lori Vallow is said the world was going to end. So we're still looking for if that's going to be true. Hopefully not. But there we go, guys. And I hope you have a good day. And I will talk to you guys later. So have a good one. Bye.